let's jump in to the 15-minute focused formula for guided reading success. All right, let's do it. I'm going to show you how to get focused when it comes to your guided reading instruction. We are going to focus on how to complete a 15-minute guided reading lesson where you will accomplish your goals for each and every group and actually start to see true reading growth in your students, something we all want in our classrooms. And I'm going to help you achieve that by the end of this masterclass. So stay with me to the end because I got some really special things for you. So stay till the end. Another thing, please shut off your phone, shut down any other browser windows because that helps with functionality during a live feed, and just get rid of all those distractions because I think that will help you stay focused. So let's jump in. I'm not 100% sure why you showed up here tonight, but I would believe it's because the title really intrigued you with wanting to get through a guided reading lesson in 15 minutes. And clearly you're frustrated. And you're probably frustrated because, one, there's just not enough time. Not enough time. Two, you're not always sure what to teach and teach it effectively in 15 minutes. Three, you have too many different resources or not the right resources to achieve your goals. So let me ask a question. Which frustration resonates the most with you? Reason number 1, 2, or 3? Let me go back and show you. 1 is not enough time. 2, not sure what to teach and teach it effectively in 15 minutes. Or number 3, you have too many resources or you don't have the right resources. Which one of those frustrations resonates with you the most? Let me know in the comments, 1, 2, or 3. Now, whatever it was whatever your motivation was to get you to come here to this masterclass today, I want you to know I'm actually here to support you. I am ready to help you achieve those goals in your guided reading instruction. So very quickly, I want to tell you just a little bit about me. I was a primary teacher for 23 years and just recently retired from the classroom. Most of my teaching career has been in second grade. If I tell you the amount of trainings that I have gone to and attended for guided reading, you wouldn't believe it. I've also been trained in close reading instruction as well. Guided reading time was my absolute favorite time of the school day, and guided math is running a very close second. I love small group instruction. And just a little bit about me, I'm married to a firefighter, and I have 18-year-old twin boys. So let me tell you what this is about. It's all in the numbers. Basically, we teach about 180 days of the school year, and I've been teaching for 23 years. So for me, that has been a lot of trial and error that has led to some serious success when it comes to guided reading instruction in my classroom. And I'm going to share some of that success with you and how I've actually achieved it so you can achieve that in your classroom as well. So we're talking about hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours that I have done when it comes to guided reading instruction. I've made all the mistakes. I've tried all of the things. And now I'm ready to share all of the positive things that I've done in my classroom that got me the results that I needed. So what I'm showing you here is an actual list of a class that I had a couple of years ago. And these were the guided reading levels that they came in with and the guided readings levels that they left me reading on. So these are, just so you know, independent reading levels when they left me. So we had to test at the way end of April, early May, and these were the levels, the independent reading levels that they left me on. Not instructional, independent reading levels. So I know you're probably looking, well, they came in pretty high. Yes, this particular year, I happen to have a pretty decent class in terms of their reading abilities and their reading skills. Our school actually organized our classes, and each year the classes would rotate with the students that were having that were struggling the most when it came to reading and learning, and we would actually put them, we considered them kind of like pods in one classroom. So this particular year, I actually didn't have students that were struggling way below grade level, but many years past I have, and I usually our students were mainstreamed, so I would usually also have our students that were in our special education department as well in my class, but this particular year I didn't. So as you could see, their reading levels coming into second grade were pretty decent, but if you can look at where I got them to towards the end of the year, those are independent reading levels, as you can see. Independent reading levels. They made tremendous gains over the year. And I wanted to show this to you because I wanted you to see that I actually have done the work. I've done the trial and error, and I've now have success with students in my class because I know how to get them there. So can you imagine what it would feel like to actually complete a guided reading lesson in 15 minutes and accomplish the reading goals that you have for each of your groups every single solitary day? Learning how to effectively and efficiently, really good words there, instruct every single one of your students in a 15-minute block of time will ensure that you're meeting with all of your groups, you're teaching the necessary skills each and every day, and that you're ultimately begin to start seeing actual reading growth in your students. Now, these are some of the frustrations that I hear over and over again from teachers that are in my Facebook groups and that send me emails every single day. And I actually recently polled my Facebook group that has over 20,000 teachers in it. And the answers that I got from them were the same over and over and over again. Paula said, still trying to master how to hit all the essential skills for each level. I find myself just reading with them when I know I should be focusing on more skills and strategies. I often struggle with identifying just what they are missing to get to the next level. Elena said, knowing what I should be focusing on during the lesson. Deanna said, feeling I don't have enough time or a misunderstanding of what I'm actually supposed to be teaching them. Maria said, always questioning myself if I'm actually doing everything right to help them to be successful. Those are some of the frustrations I hear. One of the biggest frustrations I hear every single time we talk about guided reading is time. It's time to get this problem solved by getting focused. So Ray said time, and more time during groups. And I wish there were two of me to teach guided reading and to monitor all the other kiddos. Chris says trying to have enough time to fit everything in for all levels of readers. Shari says, not enough time in my day to devote the time I would really like to spend in guided reading and still fitting everything else in. Beryl says, how to fit in 4 groups a day, find time to work with one student who doesn't fit in a group because they are all considered to be a low flyer. I need to read with this student, work on phonics, and progress monitor. Clearly, time is one of the major issues for teachers when it comes to really providing an effective guided reading group and doing it in 15 minutes and getting to all your groups. And that's why today we are going to focus on the 15-minute focused formula for guided reading success. I am going to take you down this road of the focus formula, and we're going to go on each part of this road, and I am going to show you how to accomplish this and how to ensure that you're going to meet the needs of your students every day in every group in 15 minutes. So here we go. In order to accomplish a 15-minute guided reading lesson, you must, number one on that road to the focus formula is foster independence. Here's what I mean by that. When you're fostering independence, you need to create the rules, procedures, and expectations for guided reading time together as a class. 2, model those expectations again and again at the beginning of the year. Number 3, you want to create a classroom behavior system that actually works and does not, let me repeat, does not create unnecessary work for you or for the students. And now what I want to do is I want to show you how I accomplish this in my own classroom. So we're just talking about how I foster independence in my own classroom. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create the rules, procedures, expectations for guided reading time together as a class. And we're going to model those expectations again and again at the beginning of the year. And the way in which I do that is we create anchor charts together as a class. We do this in the beginning of the year. We talk about what our classroom looks like and sounds like during our guided reading groups, during our literacy rotations. Because when our students are going to literacy rotations, that's when I'm meeting with my reading groups. I do not write these anchor charts. I do not tell them what should be on it. I ask them, what should our classroom look like and sound like when we're doing reading groups and when you're in literacy stations? And we create these anchor charts together. It truly gives them that ownership feeling over what they're supposed to be doing and how they're supposed to be accomplishing those goals. So it really helps them because they're taking ownership over it. The next thing is to create a classroom behavior system that works and does not create unnecessary work for you or the students. And the way I do that is by introducing my Digilio Dollar Store. My Digilio Dollar Store is super simple to implement. The way in which I do that is I have this little pocket chart at the front of the classroom, and every Monday the students get they're very small little dollar bills inside of their pocket. At the end of the week, if they have all 3 of their dollars, they get to keep them and they put them in their wallet. And they have a little wallet that they use that I give them. And what they do is they have to make good choices, work well during literacy stations, and of course through guided math stations. They need to share. They need to be caring. That they need to be kind. These are all things that they keep their $3 for. Now, sometimes, and just so you know, this creates a calm classroom without any unnecessary interruptions. Now, if I'm doing a guided reading group, my students are well aware that they cannot interrupt me. There are a few reasons they can interrupt me. Number 1, if they feel very sick and they're about to throw up. Number 2, if they're bleeding. Or number 3, if someone is in danger of being physically hurt. These are the reasons why how and why they're allowed to interrupt me. Otherwise, there are 0 interruptions. No one is allowed to come up to me during guided reading and interrupt me, ever. There are reasons for that, and they follow those directions because we model them at the beginning of the year. Now, if I'm doing a guided reading group and I don't want to be interrupted, but I see students that are not doing what they're supposed to be doing, I very quickly say, John, go to the reflection station because you're not making the right choices, and write a reflection on what you're doing right now and how you're going to change that tomorrow. That's all I say. They go to the reflection station. And as the year progresses, all I say is go to the reflection station. And then they know, because they know they weren't doing the right thing, and they know what to write about because I taught them and I instructed them and I modeled how to go to the reflection station and what they do at the reflection station. And then that also allows me to not interrupt my reading group. I don't have to get up and go to the how am I doing pocket chart and take out $1. It's very quick. I also share this with my students, my parents on back to school night, and I tell them what the reflection station is, why we use it, and how if they come home with the reflection sheet, they're expected to sign it and talk to their student about what they should have been doing during guided reading instruction. I really spend a lot of time and focus on this during back to school night because it's the most important time of our day. Guided reading instruction is the most important time in our day because without being able to read, nothing else matters. Nothing else will work, and they will have difficulty learning everything else. So guided reading is the most important instructional time in our day. So this really helps by fostering that independence and creating a very streamlined behavior management system in your classroom. It will allow you to not be interrupted during guided reading, which then allows you to have a 15-minute guided reading lesson. So what's next on our road to the focused formula for guided reading success is outline. What do I mean by outline? What I mean by that is Before planning your week, I want you to sit down and write a list of what skills and strategies you must teach during your guided reading group. It's easy. It's just a brainstormed list that allows you to stay focused on what must be taught during that week within your 15-minute guided reading groups. It's a quick brainstorm. Let me show you how I accomplish this in my own classroom. All right. Here's what it looks like. This is actually a picture of the side of my lesson plan. At that time, I had a printable lesson planner, and I would quickly just jot down exactly what I was going to accomplish every week. It was a quick brainstorming session, and I would write down what I was going to focus on with each of my guided reading groups each and every week. This allowed me, again, to stay focused on very specific skills and strategies that I knew I would accomplish during my group work and not get sidetracked. How many times are you teaching a lesson in guided reading and you get sidetracked? It's a problem because, again, that will hinder you from effectively teaching a lesson in 15 minutes and you get sidetracked. So if I know for sure I'm teaching prediction and setting purpose, I'm going to stick to prediction and setting purpose. Yes, we all want those kind of teachable moments, and we want to really jump on them and teach our students when those teachable moments come up. And I do that, but I really try my best to stay very focused with the task at hand because it lets me accomplish more with each group in a shorter period of time. So it's really important that you're very focused when you're doing those lessons because it lets you stay within a 15-minute time frame. So do a quick brainstorming session of what you're hoping to accomplish with each reading group. So that's what I mean by outline in our focused formula plan. When you're down that road, you need to outline and do a quick brainstorm of what you're hoping to achieve each week with your guided reading group. Now, on the side of my lesson plan, as you can see, that's not just my reading group. I actually jot down all of the skills and strategies and kind of concepts that I'm going to teach for the whole week because it allows me to plan my week better and more efficiently when I do a quick brainstorm. All right, next up on the road to the focused formula is C, which is construct. When you're constructing, let's talk about what you're going to be constructing. You are going to be constructing your guided reading instructional workspace to have everything you need within arm's reach. You're also going to organize your materials so that they're easy to grab and you have all the materials the students will need so they do not leave your table. Let me talk about that very quickly before I go to the next slide. When I tell you I have absolutely everything at my guided reading table, my students never leave my table. Once they're seated at my table, they don't leave. They don't leave to get a pencil, an eraser, a tissue, go to the bathroom, nothing. I have everything they need within arm's reach because the moment they leave that table for a split second, you've lost half the group or all of the group, and you have just lost 2 to 3 minutes of your time. So let's talk about how I organize my guided reading area. So this is about constructing and organizing your guided reading area so everything's within arm's reach. So here you can see is a picture of what my guided reading area looks like and what I have and where I have it. So it's a super easy way for me to get what I need. I have pencils, crayons, erasers, and scissors right behind my chair where I literally turn around, get my little cups, and I put them out. I have 3 or 4 cups, so I put 1 cup between each student so they have everything they need when they need it. My children do not leave my table. If their pencil breaks, absolutely no pencil sharpening. This is so imperative. Number 2, right behind me again are my little caddies where I keep all of our leveled readers, our reading notebooks, and our reading work in progress. So when Group A comes, I pull out my Group A work. When Group B comes, I pull out my Group B work. Everything is in there and everything is right behind me, so it's quick. So especially when my groups are transitioning from literacy stations to group, I turn around, I put my A stuff away, I take out my B group stuff. It's so easy when everything is literally within arm's reach. The next thing I have right here is this this cabinet right behind me. And in this cabinet, I have my magnetic letters and my boards, my letter tiles, my clear pockets, my finger lights, my eyeballs. Again, everything within arm's reach, so it's quick. Everything needs to be very quick for you to get, so you're not wasting time in the middle of a lesson. The next thing right here is what's directly in front of me when I'm teaching. I have my lesson plans. I have my doorbell ringer, because my doorbell is plugged in one of the outlets, and I have a wireless doorbell so I can quickly ring the bell. I have my timer. I have my markers, my pencils, my scissors, anything I need for them to do. If we're doing guided writing, I have their guided writing activity directly in front of me as well. Everything is within arm's reach. My students don't leave the table. I don't leave the table for any reason. And again, if my students that are in literacy stations are actually misbehaving or not making good choices, all I say is, Johnny, go to the reflection station, and they go. That's it, quick. And of course, one of the other options is right there, right behind me. I have all of my whiteboards and my whiteboard erasers. And I have my white and ripe markers up in those cups as well. So everything is within arm's reach. And of course, one thing I could never live without up on top of my shelf is because just Dove chocolate. I need to say nothing further. Dove chocolate. That's all you need to know. Because it gets me through. It gets me through my day. So onward, here we go. So next up on that road to the focused formula is U for utilize. Let's talk about let's talk about utilize and what I mean by that. What are you utilizing? You're utilizing a consistent, look at that word, a consistent guided reading lesson plan format for every single one of your groups, from your emergent readers to your fluent readers, in order to accomplish a 15-minute lesson. You must utilize a consistent schedule and familiar activities, because that will reduce the confusion and the chaos during your guided reading instruction. Let me show you how I accomplish this in my own classroom. All right, let's talk about how I utilize a consistent 3-day lesson plan structure that follows the same pattern for all of my leveled groups. This is an example of my emergent readers lesson plan. This is an example of my early readers lesson plan. This is an example of my transitional readers lesson plan and my fluent readers lesson plan. Consistency in lesson planning is 1,000% the key to a 15-minute guided reading group. Everyone always says to me, I can't get it finished in 15 minutes. You can. I've done it. And the way you do it is by following a consistent lesson planning format in order to achieve that. You have to do that. If each of your lesson plans are different for every single group, you'll never finish every group in 15 minutes. But with a consistent format, not necessarily the same skills, but format, a consistent format will make it very streamlined and allow you to accomplish that reading group in 15 minutes. It's so important. Now, of course, some of the strategies and skills and concepts you're going to be teaching might be different, but otherwise, the format and structure is the same. I do a 3-day lesson plan for emergent, early, and transitional and fluent readers. Now, with my emergent readers, sometimes it's a 2-day lesson plan. It depends on what I see during those 2 days and whether or not I think a day 3 is necessary for that particular book or that particular lesson. So it varies a little bit with each emergent group. Only my emergent group. Early, transitional, fluent, all 3-day lesson plans. So the second thing I want to show you is that, again, each lesson plan always incorporates best practices in guided reading instruction. What do I mean by best practices? I mean that this is what every single solitary lesson, guided reading lesson, should include to be based on best practices in guided reading instruction and literacy instruction. You need word work, comprehension, oral discussion, so important, of course, fluency and guided writing. These are best practices in guided reading instruction. Every single one of your guided reading lesson plans should incorporate these pieces: word work, comprehension, oral discussions, fluency, guided reading, all of them. It's very, very, very important that all of your lessons in guided reading accomplish these 5 pieces. It's just so important. So that's one of the most important ways of keeping within a 15-minute time frame is by, again, sticking to the same type of plan for each type of group, yet still focusing on best practices in guided reading instruction with each group, depending, of course, on what group you're teaching and what you're teaching them. All right, next up on our road to the focus formula for 15-minute lessons is simplify. What am I talking about? What do I mean when I say simplify? When I say simplify, you need to simplify your guided reading instruction by focusing on 1 or 2 comprehension skills and or strategies. Please do not try to teach 5 or 6 different things with one book within 2 to 3 days. Please don't do that. I beg of you, because you will never achieve a 15-minute guided reading lesson and really hone in on those specific skills and strategies if you're trying to do too much. Also, when I was doing this in my classroom, I tried to simplify my instruction by teaching the same skill or strategy for all of your groups, if at all possible. Now, for example, what I mean by that is if I was teaching character traits with 2 of my groups, I tried to do it with all of my groups. It might not have worked with my emergent readers because my emergent readers, we were really working on a lot of, that decoding and that word work and, discussing very simple texts. So if I taught character traits with my early transitional and fluent readers, I might not be able to do that with my emergent readers, but I always tried as best as I could. Let me tell you and show you how I accomplished this in my classroom. Again, we're going to go back to looking at these lesson plans. Teaching similar skills and strategies to each group will help you to teach more efficiently within your 15-minute group rotations and allow for more focused instruction. That's what we're talking about here. We're talking about focused instruction. And again, let me repeat that. If I was teaching character traits to 2 of my groups or 1 of my groups, I would try to do it for all of my groups. So I would find a book that I could teach with my early readers, my transitional readers, and my fluent readers, and that I can teach character traits for all 3 groups. It just helps me to stay streamlined with my instruction and get through it more quickly. Because once you do one group and you teach a lesson with one group, it goes much more quickly with your other groups if you're basically on the same topic. I may teach it a little bit differently to an early reader than I do a fluent reader, but the concepts are overall the same. So I really tried to stick with the same skill or strategy for each of my groups. Again, my emergent readers were a little bit different because we were focusing on such different skills with them, because we were really focusing on teaching them how to read and decode and comprehend. And we did a lot of oral discussion with that emergent group. So I really always tried with my early transitional and fluent readers to stick with the same concept, strategy, or skill that I was teaching. So next up on the road to the focused formula for 15-minute guided reading instruction is execute. So what do I mean by that? What are we talking about? What am I asking you to execute? So number 1, you have to execute your lesson plans and guided reading groups efficiently by refining your time management skills. Number 2, to accomplish this, you use a timer and a doorbell to transition groups. Let me show you how I accomplish this in my own classroom. So what I do in my own classroom is I use a wireless doorbell, which allowed me to alert the students who were working in literacy stations that it was time to clean up while I finished with my current group. This dramatically reduced wasted time between groups. So if I was still working with one of my groups and I still say had 3 or 4 minutes left with this particular group, I would ring the bell, and that bell signified the rest of the class that we were about to transition groups. That meant it's time to clean up and it's time to get ready to go to my next rotation, whether that be come to the teacher table to work on guided reading with me or go to their next state literacy station, whatever that may have been, whether it be writing or word work or whatever, or listen to reading. Whatever they were going to, they knew when they heard that bell, it was time to clean up what they were working on and move on to the next station. Now, if their next station was to come to me at reading group, they would clean up, walk over to my table, and they would stand behind a student that was seated at my table. And they knew that as soon as that student got up to leave, they can take the seat. But that meant that they weren't interrupting my kids that were working. They weren't interrupting me. They just stood behind the child of where they were going to sit during reading group. And then when that child got up, they sat down. Another thing that I would do that truly helped with time management is using a timer on my iPhone that actually had a visual image of the time, which allowed me to be more efficient. So sometimes when I was just at the beginning, I was using my iPhone and just the timer that was on my iPhone, and it was fine. But you know what? I had to kind of look at it. I had to put on my reading glasses sometimes because I'm like ancient. So what I would have to do was I'd have to kind of pick up my phone, look pretty closely at it, figure out what I had left. But when I used this visual timer and that red space left or, was dwindling as the time went, that was so helpful to me because it gave me I could just glance over it, have a visual reminder of what the time was that I either had left or what was, or the time that was almost finished. So I loved using a visual timer like this on my iPhone. I found this to be really helpful with time management skills. And again, that wireless doorbell was absolutely so important to keep my groups on time, cleaning up, and then no one was late to my table to start the next group. It would usually take, by time I rang my bell, and it was ready to switch, all of my students that were ready for guided reading for my next group were standing behind the group that was still at my table. My kids got up, new ones sat down, and I got started. Time management skills and strategies are so important to staying in a 15-minute period. So next up, and actually the last stop on our focused formula to a 15-minute guided reading group is the D, which is differentiate, document, determine. So let's talk about what I mean. When I talk about differentiate, I need you to differentiate your instruction for each of your students, yet keep your lesson plans consistent to optimize your teaching time. We talked about that in one of the other steps on our road to a focused formula for 15-minute lessons. We talked about that a little bit, about keeping those lesson plans consistent to optimize your teaching time. Number 2, document. Let's talk about what I mean by that. You need to document your students' reading strengths and weaknesses by using anecdotal notes. Anecdotal notes are so important because what you're doing is you're saying, okay, this is what I need to do next. And that's where also determined comes up. Determined will come up in my next slide, right here. We're going to determine next steps for your groups and for individual needs of your students. And what I mean by that is those anecdotal notes are going to say, oh, this is what I should work on next or in a future lesson, or this needs to be a teaching moment right now, or I need to do this when we do our discussion questions for this book. Whatever it is, that's what those anecdotal notes are helping you with. They're helping you to determine your next steps for your group or individual needs of your students. Let's talk about how I accomplish that in my classroom. The way I accomplish that in my classroom, number 1, is right here, as you can see with the yellow circle. I always document my students' strengths and weaknesses by keeping anecdotal notes when my students are reading during my group time. Remember, we're not doing round robin, we're not doing choral reading. My students are whisper reading and I'm listening in. It gives me such clear pictures of what I need to work on with them and tells me what are their strengths and what are their weaknesses. Are they using their strategies? Are they not using their strategies? Are they struggling with maybe some type of sound of specific words that they're reading. So I also write down the errors that I notice and, of course, strengths that they're demonstrating, and that these notes allow me to plan ahead and determine what my next steps might be with my groups. So anecdotal notes are absolutely imperative when you're doing your guided reading groups, because it tells you what to focus on, what to teach, and what your next steps will be for the next group or the next time you meet, or maybe even the next book you read. And also, I write my anecdotal notes on small Post-it notes, and I usually keep those Post-it notes on the back of one of my guided reading trifolds, or sometimes I have a sheet where I collect all of my notes of my students' reading, so it's easy for me to pull out either during parent-teacher conferences, or sometimes I take off the sticky notes and I stick them directly in their data binders. So I do a variety of things with those Post-it notes, but I do always put the date on there, so it shows me what the date was. Sometimes I'll write the title of the book. Sometimes not, because I don't want to write too much down on those Post-it notes. I really try to just be super focused with the strengths, weaknesses, and of what my next steps might be with those particular groups. So following the focused formula will definitely 1000% lead to exponential reading growth in your students. That I can absolutely promise you, because I know, because I did it in my own classroom. In my own classroom, I did this. After learning these steps of the focus formula, I'm curious, do you think you can implement this process in your classroom? Let me know. I'd love to hear it in the comments. Do you think you can implement either all of these steps or some of these steps to ensure that you can get through that 15-minute instructional period for each group? Let me know in the comments. Now, why are you here? Why are you here? You showed up today, even though I know you're incredibly busy, for a very specific reason. You showed up here for a specific reason. One of the reasons is you're probably tired. You're tired of spinning your wheels day in and day out, searching for resources that will help you figure out how to really help your students succeed in reading. I know I was tired with that, and I was constantly on that, that hamster wheel trying to figure it out. Maybe you're a little intrigued. You were intrigued by the notion that your guided reading instruction can be accomplished in 15-minute blocks of time for each of your groups. Because I know many teachers say to me I just can't do it in 15 minutes. I just can't do it in 15 minutes. I'm hoping today I showed you the steps you need to take to actually accomplish that. And maybe the last thing is you want to succeed. We all do as teachers. That's something that we strive for in our classrooms. We want to succeed. You really want to feel successful teaching your students during guided reading. We all want that. So I have a question for you. Here's my question. Would you like me to share with you how you can streamline your guided reading instruction, help you meet the needs of all of your learners, and accomplish this in 15 minutes per group? Let me know. Would you like me to share that with you? Let me hear it. I'd love to hear that in the comments. Would you like me to share that with you? Okay, I'm seeing it. So here we go. Let me introduce you to guided readers. If you are ready to rock your guided reading instruction, streamline your literacy block, and start seeing real student growth using a proven roadmap to get you there, I would love to invite you into Guided Readers. Guided Readers is an exclusive guided reading program that will provide you with leveled readers, professionally leveled by Fontes and Pinnell and Lexile, streamlined lesson plans, activities to support comprehension, Google Classroom materials, and a digital interactive experience for students. I want you to picture this. Picture students listening to stories while the words are being highlighted on the page, recording themselves reading, and then listening back to their own recordings, and checking for understanding all independently. Yep, Guided Readers will absolutely accomplish this for you, because Guided Readers includes a comprehensive library of engaging texts professionally leveled by Fontes and Pinnell and Lexile.com through a partnership that I created with both of these companies. And I'm so excited to bring you these leveled texts professionally leveled by these companies. You'll also get a teacher portal that allows you to sort the books that are there by Fountas and Pinnell or Lexile levels, and a library bookshelf that has texts ranging in levels from A through Z. One thing I just want to note here is that as of right now, our library is full of books from levels A through P. Levels Q through Z will be added over the next couple of months. So we are adding anywhere between 20 to 50 leveled readers every single solitary month. So right now, our library bookshelf is full with readers from A through P. Q through Z will be added over the next couple of months. Guided readers also includes this. Each level text has a single-sided printable book, a double-sided printable book, a lesson plan, a very rigorous and standards-based lesson plan, printables that include a comprehension activity, text-dependent questions, sight words, and word work activities, a Google Classroom options as well, and instructional tools to help you really know how to teach what you need to teach. Those are all included in guided readers. The next thing that it includes is on the book details page, you'll see the Fountas. So every time you click a book in the leveled library, you're going to see the Fountas and Pinnell level, the Lexile level, a book description. You'll get an interactive book preview. You'll get the comprehension focus areas of the lesson plan, the Common Core standards and the TEKS alignment, any related books that are there, and an instructional video on how to print and assemble your readers. The next thing that Guided Readers includes is a digital interactive reader. This is for the students. The students will be able to read the story independently, or they could listen to the story being read aloud as the text is highlighted. This is unbelievable, this capability of this software, because it really helps the students when it comes to decoding and looking at the words on the text and listening to them at the same time. It will really help them learn to be better fluent readers and help them learn those decoding skills even more. Then they can record themselves reading the story and listen back to it. They can record it and listen back. Then they can take a comprehension quiz when they complete the story. This is super exciting. But it also includes a teacher portal. And on that teacher portal, you can assign an account for each student. You can assign a range of level text for each student to see in their bookshelves. Give each student a picture password for easy access, which means they don't have to type in any words. It's easy peasy with a picture password, especially for our youngest learners in kindergarten and first grade. And also on your teacher portal, you can listen to the students' recordings in the portal, and you can view and print out the grades for the comprehension quizzes as well. So you're probably thinking, what does this cost? All right, Anna, give us the cost. What is it? And you're likely thinking that it's probably going to cost you hundreds of dollars for this program. And that's not even close. The results that you're going to see in your classroom are going to be huge. The success that your students are going to experience will be life-changing, not only for you, but definitely for your students. I very quickly just want to share this with you. This is from Therese. She actually goes by Shelly. She sent me this email, and she has been using my guided reading resources in her classroom. And she said, over the past 3 years, when students come to me from second grade, they are well below grade level. This year, 76% of my class were 2 or more grade levels below. Now, 52% of my class is on or above grade level, and 29% of my class is just only 1 grade level behind, using my resources. And this was mid-year. This wasn't even at the end of the year. Then she says, my students love the atmosphere of small group reading thanks to Anna's material. Not only does Anna offer guided reading books and interactive notebook materials and writing materials, word work, and you name what else, she's got what you need, but she also plans it out for you too. Planning guided reading isn't a chore for me. It is something I actually look forward to, especially when I get to introduce a new book. And then she says, thank you for coming into my life. You're such a positive and inspiring person. You truly have a gift. This actually made me cry, this email. I was so honored to have received it. And this, again, was sent to me in, I believe it was like November or December. So she was only a few months into the year and already seeing huge results with her students. And then there's this. Kristen's in my Facebook group and she says, just wait until you look at the end of the year growth reports. Blew my mind. And that's because she was using my guided reading resources. So let's talk about what Guided Readers offers you and what it will cost, because it's definitely not what you think. So again, you'll get hundreds of engaging leveled readers, professionally leveled by Fontes and Pinnell and Lexile. All of the teaching resources to save you so much planning time. And of course, you're going to get the entire digital interactive reader to use during group time or for independent student use during literacy stations. So if you don't want to print out the printable books, you don't have to. You could actually use your iPads or Chromebooks and use the digital version of the book, which will save you even more time because you don't have to print them out. But that option is available to you. So I know I can easily charge school districts $399 per teacher for this guided reading program that I know is going to transform teachers' guided reading instruction. But I also know my teachers. I know that all of you take money out of your own pockets to improve your own craft and your classroom each and every day. And since I know this about all of my teachers in my teaching community, and I know how passionate you are about helping students reach reading mastery, I know that a price of $399 would be absolutely out of reach for you. What I need to tell you right now is that the regular price of this program is going to be for three different prices, basically. There's the seed plan, which is all of the printable resources. You get the printable leveled readers, the lesson plans, the comprehension resources, word work, instructional resources, and you'll get your Google Classroom options. Now, the Sprout plan by itself is just the digital interactive reader, where it gives you all the digital level readers. The students can listen to the story while the words are highlighted. The students can record themselves reading and listen back. The students can take a comprehension quiz. And of course, you get a teacher and student portal, which is great for centers and one-to-one classrooms. Now, these programs are going to be sold separately as well. Or I have the Bloom plan. The Bloom plan is a combination of both the seed plan and the Sprout plan. And the typical price for this program will be $249 as an annual membership. And just FYI, school district purchase orders are accepted. But I know that even this price might be out of range for you because I know what teachers make. Been there, my friends. So what I did for this introductory launch of Guided Readers, this is what I'm going to be charging. If you only want the printables plan and you don't have any one-to-one options in your classroom and you just want the leveled readers and the lesson plans and the resources and word work and instructional materials and Google Classroom options, the seed plan is only $99. The Sprout plan is also $99, which is the digital interactive reader. You don't get any of the printables with the Sprout plan. You only get the digital interactive reader. Or you can purchase the Bloom plan, which is a combination of both these plans together for only $167 for an annual membership, which you're saving $31 if you buy both of them together. Now, not only that, my friends, but you will be grandfathered into this pricing because once our library grows into the thousands of books, this price will go away. It is absolutely going to raise up to full price, not very long from now. So right now, the introductory pricing, it will be $167, and it's an annual membership, which will be charged to you annually if you decide to stay with us for more than 1 year. And when you get into the program, everything is available to you. Every single solitary level, everything is available for you if you go with the Bloom plan, which gives you everything, the digital plan and the seed plan together. And again, it's an annual membership. I do not have a monthly option because all of the resources are acceptable at one time. So there's no monthly option. But this introductory price will absolutely go away, and it will go up to full pricing very, very soon. So remember, I just want you to know, as of right now, in the bookshelf, in the library bookshelf, we have levels A through P. So Q through Z will be added over the next couple of months, but I can promise you, you will not be sorry getting in at the introductory price, because this is going to be epic. Not only that, but any new functionality that I add to the website will be given to you for free. And I do plan on adding an entire resource library of close reading resources as well this year. So there is going to be so much goodness going into this program, Guided Readers, that you are going to want to get in on the ground floor, because again, you are going to be grandfathered into your pricing. That's such an important thing to know. Every year it will be $167. And if you don't get in now, it will be much more expensive going forward. So you can absolutely get started today with one payment of $167 as an annual membership. All you have to do is go to guidedreaders.com and get started today. The bookshelf is full and ready and waiting for you. Very quickly, before you hop over to Guided Readers to check it out, I just want to show you the process that you're going to go through if you plan on purchasing and becoming a member of Guided Readers. When you go over to guidedreaders.com, you're going to see this page right here, and this gives you tons of information about what Guided Readers has to offer. It tells you everything that you get. There's a great video here as well, and there's also a video walkthrough of the digital reader. Not only that, but if you scroll further down the page, you'll see this little table. It tells you everything that you get in each of the different plans, depending on which plan you decide to purchase. So when you go down further on the bottom of the page, you're going to see the 3 different plans: the Seed Plan, Sprout Plan, or Bloom Plan. When you decide which program you want to join, of course I suggest the Bloom Plan because it is the best value for your money. You click the Register Now button. When you click that button, you're going to see a page that looks just like this. You're going to fill in your information just like I did here, and you're going to click the Register button. After you click the Register button, you're going to see this screen, and it's going to say, before proceeding, please check your email for your verification link. Here is what the email will look like. It comes from Guided Readers, and it will say verify email address. If you don't see it in your inbox, that means you need to check your spam folder or your promotions folder if you're a Gmail account, if you have a Gmail account. And again, if you don't get it for some reason, you could always come back here and click to get another request. So this is exactly what the email will say. You click the email, and then this is what will be in the email. It says, please click the button to verify your email. So you're going to click this green button to verify your email. And then you'll get, thank you, your email has been verified. And you're going to click the Go Home button. When you click the Go Home button, now you're going to see the subscription page. This is where you actually purchase Guided Readers. The reason why we make you go through that process is because we want to ensure that all of the emails that you would get from Guided Readers, if we ever send you an email about updates or anything like that, that they don't go to spam. This ensures that. So here is the subscription page. You put in your information, you decide which plan you're planning on getting, and if you're not associated with a school district, or if you're a mom, or you're a homeschooler, or you just want it, for your own children at home, you could just write NA in the school district name and information there. You'll choose which plan you want, and then you put in your credit card information down here at the bottom, and then click Submit Credit Card Payment, and you are in. And then you can check out the bookshelf and all of the yummy goodness inside of Guided Readers. I am so excited to share that with you today. So all you have to do is go to guidedreaders.com. But before you do that, you might be thinking, I have so many resources, I don't need any more. You know what? I get that. I totally understand that. But my answer to this is for sure. This will be the last guided reading program you will ever need or want because you're going to start seeing results that you have not experienced before with your students in your classroom. I can assure you of that. And again, this is coming from someone with 23 years of teaching experience in guided reading instruction. I know how to get results. And that's what I'm offering you in guided reading. And again, I suggest you jump in on the introductory pricing. You also might be thinking, I'm overwhelmed already. Won't this overwhelm me even more? No way. This is going to reduce that overwhelmed feeling tremendously without a shadow of a doubt. You will have no planning to do for your guided reading instruction, with the exception of just kind of figuring out what you want to teach and then printing out the materials that you need. Or again, you can also just use the digital interactive reader with your students in your small groups, and you don't even have to print out the books. You'll just have to print out the lesson plan and the activities that you're going to do with your students. This will seriously decrease your planning time by at least 4 to 5 hours per week, guaranteed. Lastly, you also might be thinking, this is just too much money to spend on a resource. And to be honest with you, I understand. As teachers, we spend way too much money. I've been there, trust me. But there are two things that I can tell you about this. First, by purchasing guided readers, your stress level and that constant overwhelmed feeling is going to reduce dramatically because you have a proven roadmap that will take you step by step through the process of streamlining your guided reading instruction so you start to see real results in your students' reading abilities. Honestly, we can't put a price tag on that feeling. There's just no way. And two, you have the option of bringing this program to your school district administrator or your curriculum coordinator. Show them the program. Show them this training. Let them experience what we can offer your school district teachers and the students in your school. There are teaching licensing available, and you can offer it to your colleagues as well. So bring this to your school district administrator and let them pay for it. We take school district purchase orders. So again, let's do this. You can get started today for one payment of $167, which is an annual membership. Again, there is no monthly payments. This is just a one-time payment each year for an annual membership to guided readers. I am just thrilled and excited to invite you into this program because it has been a very, very long time in the making. You are going to get access to resources that are going to completely transform your instruction. And honestly, it's going to truly transform your life in the classroom. So we are going to chat right now, and we are going to jump into a live Q&A where I will answer any questions that you may have about the program. And I really do hope you'll join me in Guided Readers because you are ready to embark on a year of guided reading instruction that's going to be phenomenal. All right, guys, let me hop back on screen, and we are going to jump into our Q&A.